AITA for wanting my boyfriend to come home early from vacation? Me and my boyfriend have been together for just under 5 years. He has been amazing, and I honestly thought this was it for me. However, the events of this week has been clouding my vision. My grandfather suffered a heart attack on Wednesday night. He is currently in the ICU after being airlifted to the nearest hospital in the city I'm living in. My family lives in a very rural area about 5 hours from me. He is my best friend. He was my babysitter while my mom worked, as she had me young, so I'm very close with my grandparents. This has been traumatic for me, to say the least. Now on to the issue. My boyfriend took time off work, he works in another province, to go to another province to visit his sister, and his other sister came as well with her 2 kids, they also live in another province. I didn't go due to the fact I'm still in university completing my teaching degree and couldn't afford to take time off work. I called him immediately Wednesday night, crying and having a panic attack about my pop. He was very supportive and calmed me down. I asked him to come home, he still has a week and a half of vacation time left, because I really needed him, and basically he refused. He said I was essentially interfering with his time to be spent with his sisters and nieces and that he didn't want to spend the extra money to come to my town, because plane tickets would be $700. I told him I understood that it's a lot of money, but this is my pop, and I'm here alone. He argued that I'm not alone, and my family is here with me. I said it's different, everyone is there with their partners. My sister's girlfriend flew home from work immediately, and so did my dad, they both work away. His response was he's not dead yet, I'll come back when he's gone, and hung up the phone. He texted me later and said I was always trying to interfere with his family time, and he hasn't seen both his sisters since the pandemic and it's selfish of me to want him there. He also argued that I think money is no issue for him because he makes $120K and I don't have a grasp on finances because I work retail. I even offered to pay for his flight here, which he also took offense from. My grandmother and parents offered to use their airline points, cause I told them the plane tickets were too much. And he was very angry over me trying too damn hard to have him avoid spending time with his sisters. It is now Friday night, he hasn't spoken/texted me all day. I'm wondering if I'm in the wrong. So Reddit, AITA for wanting my boyfriend to come home early from vacation? Comment. Soft nah, I understand that you are obviously in a very stressful and emotional situation and want his support, and particularly because everyone else has their partners around, it might feel a little lonely, but he does have a point. You are not alone. You're with your family. He on the other hand hasn't been with his in I assume about 3 years, and he's used up his vacation days and money to see them, and if he comes back now he probably won't get to see them for at least another year. I agree that it's very insensitive of him to say he's not dead yet to you, but you asking him to put your need for him to sit by your side with your family while there is nothing he can do over his need to spend time with his family is not the most best solution here either. No. That is not the reason that he decided not to come, and you know it, he told you as much. The reason he's not coming is because he's with his family who he hasn't seen in years. His answer was no. He didn't tell you that he wished he could come. He was firm that he wouldn't. Frankly, he's right. He loves his family as much as you love yours. He shouldn't leave because your grandfather might die. You have a robust support system. You have a lot of nerve claiming to be alone while surrounded with family. You absolutely were interfering with his family time. Not enough info. Yes, your grandfather's illness is significant and upsetting, and I can understand that you would like your boyfriend to be with you to support you. Is your grandfather's condition stable now? Your boyfriend is saying that you have been preventing him from seeing his family, and that he hasn't seen his sisters since the pandemic. What's the story behind that? Have you been, in any way, keeping him from seeing his family? Other than calming your panic attack, which he did over the phone, and matching up with you, because you are concerned about everyone else having their partner there, what would he be able to do, if he came back, for you and your grandfather? In fact, I don't think any party is in the wrong here. While your pop means a lot to you, to him it just may not be a big deal, he doesn't share the same experience as you do. It's normal that he may not see the importance. You mentioned that he said you were always trying to interfere with his family time. That seems like a yellow flag that you may want to address soon. This could just be a series of small misunderstandings, but ignoring it could lead to more serious issues down the road. Some people forego marriage fuck divorce. 2 people in a romantic relationship should support each other, especially emotionally. If he can't be here for her during this time, then, when he gonna step up? Does he only have to step up once he's her husband? I would never marry somebody that waited until we had a legal document stating we were together to show me any sort of emotional connection. Next story 2. AITA for excluding my friend from a group trip due to her recent behavior. Hey everyone, I recently found myself in a tricky situation and I'm wondering if I may have been in the wrong. So, here's the backstory. A group of close friends and I have been planning a much anticipated trip to a tropical paradise for months now. We're all incredibly excited, except for one friend, let's call her Sarah, 26F. Sarah has always been a part of our tight-knit group, but lately, her behavior has been quite problematic. Over the past few months, she's become incredibly self-centered and always expects us to cater to her needs. It's like she's completely lost sight of what friendship means. To give you an example, Sarah recently threw a fit during a group hangout because we didn't want to go to a particular restaurant she had been craving. Instead of discussing it calmly, she made a huge scene, berated us all, and ended up storming out. This incident was just one of many similar occurrences, and it left us all feeling emotionally drained and exhausted. Fast forward to our trip planning. We all decided to make a group chat to discuss the finer details and share our excitement. However, Sarah has consistently used the chat as a platform to vent about trivial issues, demand special treatment, and make hurtful remarks towards us. Instead of being a source of joy and anticipation, the chat has become a toxic environment, causing unnecessary tension and stress. In light of these recent events, the rest of us discussed the possibility of excluding Sarah from the trip. We wanted this vacation to be a time of relaxation, fun, and positive energy, and we feared that Sarah's presence would only bring negativity and drama. We ultimately made the tough decision to go ahead with the trip without Sarah, thinking it would be best for everyone's mental health and overall enjoyment. When we broke the news to her, she was understandably upset and accused us of being exclusionary and unfair. So, AITA for excluding my friend from our group trip due to her recent behavior? Comment. Ultimately, to be part of a group, one has to make the effort to fit into the group ethos, even if it's not a set ethos. Sarah isn't doing that. Sarah is monopolizing things and causing other people stress when she doesn't get her own way. You are allowed to be exclusionary if the person isn't willing to make a good faith effort, because ultimately the group can decide who is in and out. Especially if you've already given them plenty of chances already. Hopefully they will reflect on why they were excluded. But I wouldn't count on it. It sounds like you have done all you can. It's not easy when someone's behavior flips like that, but you can only respond to what is happening and do your best to set boundaries. You done all you could and NTA for excluding her all for the sake of everyone's mental health. Your friend sounds exhausting tbh. NTA. She sounds exhausting. But, you guys need to have it out with her and call her out on her behavior. When she engages in that behavior, everyone needs to call her out immediately. It's uncomfortable, but if no one is calling her out for her behavior, then to her you guys are all okay with it? Or being exclusionary, but it's not at all unfair. If we're gonna be a shit time, people won't want to keep spending time with you. People need to learn their behavior has consequences and people have limits. She isn't owed an invite, but if you did want to keep her in the group and haven't had convos with her about it, do that. If you have and no change has been seen, this is just what you gotta do to protect a time that the rest of you have agreed is being set aside for relaxation and enjoyment, which she actively ruins. NTA 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 NTA. It's uncomfortable for sure to do this to a friend in a group, but don't assume it means you've done something unfair. It's very fair and I have to say she deserves this. It's much more uncomfortable to try to tolerate shitty behavior from her indefinitely, and also for this trip, seeing as she's not self-aware enough at this point to look at what she's doing and deciding what needs changing. Now, I can't help but feel a tinge of guilt. Did we overstep our boundaries by excluding Sarah from this trip? Are we being too hard on her? Or, is it justified for us to prioritize our own well-being and enjoyment by excluding someone who has consistently brought negativity into our lives? So I believe this might make me the asshole in this situation. If this is truly sudden and new behavior, then something is up with Sarah that y'all are blind to. A person does not just suddenly start behaving this way. I won't officially judge, but I do think YTA for not realizing that and for abandoning her and excluding her. Next story 3. Whipta if I tell my boyfriend how I really feel about the surprise he prepared for my birthday? This has never happened to me before, so I've been taken aback and didn't know how to even react to this. Throwaway account because BF knows my Reddit. I've been in a long-distance relationship with my BF for around half year, and on the day before my birthday he said he'd go to sleep early and basically made me think he completely forgot about it. I'm pretty alone IRL, so there's no one to get me a cake IRL except if I'd do it myself. The night before my birthday I was video calling with my BF, and at midnight he turned off his camera, and then when he came back he had a small cake and a firecracker as a surprise for me. He lit the thing, he wished me happy birthday, and then proceeded to eating the cake in front of me. That was it. That was his surprise for me, nothing else, just this. I would have literally preferred anything else that is for me, even if it was something as simple as a small drawing or literally anything just for me. I felt so bad and taken aback by all this I just said I'm tired and went to sleep, but I started crying since I just couldn't appreciate the surprise, just didn't let him see me. It just reinforced my loneliness, and the fact that he doesn't know me at all. Plus now I'm questioning the whole relationship since he'd do something that can be perceived as so rude by me. I want to appreciate the gesture, I really do, but I feel rather offended by it. I know distance is very restrictive, but I can think of 1,000 other simple things that could have been much nicer and for me. Whipta if I tell him about how this made me feel? I might be the ass because he seemed so genuinely happy doing it, and I know I'd ruin it for him, but he ruined it for me. Comment. I agree with this comment. It's weird that he would just eat cake in front of you. I would have ordered a cake from a local bakery and had a delivery service drop it off. Then eat cake together. That would have been sweet. I would very upset about this too. So NTA. Sounds like you need to also learn to have a voice and stick up for yourself. I had a celebration with a long-distance friend where I ordered them a bottle of wine and got the exact same thing for myself. Perhaps some other time as well, it was a long time ago. At any rate, that was so that we could simultaneously have a glass together and share the experience even if it was long distance. This wasn't hard to think through and do something that was actually nice for her. He's definitely not that clued in and sounds rather self-centered to boot. You're not being an asshole here. He's either so dense he's clueless or he's really that asshole. It's time to reconsider the relationship in either case. You deserve better treatment. In times of Uber Eats and stuff he could have ordered one to your place. What's wrong with him? Also, how far is the distance and for how long will you have to put up with that? You seem quite lonely and I hope you'll be able to shorten the distance soon. NTA, and you should talk about it. But, consider that he had no malicious intent. Quite the opposite. But tell him how lonely you feel, and that while you appreciate his intent to do something nice for you, it made you feel more lonely instead. You need to decide if it's a deal breaker for you, but at least give him a chance to talk it over before you make that decision. Basically your boyfriend a moron, but not an asshole, and he might be redeemable.